basically I'm going to show you how to do something that I call a riptide. And I'm sure it's been done before. Essentially, like when you spin a chuck, you use the opposite hand to bring the momentum of this chuck around like this. The whole concept behind riptides, or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really matter, it's just the name, is that the same hand that grabs, right, like say this hand grabs, is the hand that pulls it over, okay? So when I'm doing a spin like this, catch, pull it over, see? So it'll be, I grab, catch this hand, instead of rolling it with this hand, right, this hand actually isolates, and the other hand pulls it over like that. So that's the concept. It's just like this. If you have an underhand and overhand grab, you can roll back and forth with the hand that grips it like that, see? Instead of going like this, right, it's like this hand stops and pulls it over on its own. That's the whole concept. I don't know what it's really called, but that's the whole concept behind this. And it's the concept behind this move right here. And when I'm going down the middle lane and I'm doing these rolls right here, I'm kind of doing a spin off of that, which is I'm grabbing here and I'm pulling it this way, like that, see? So what it'll look like is I'm pulling it this way. Then I'm pulling another riptide this way, pushing it back. So that's how I get this movement like that. And there's so many different variations that you can do with how you want to pull them. Just remember, like, there's two ways you can spin it. Well, there's a lot of ways, but there's a couple ways that you can, spin it. And one way is you grab one end and you use the opposite side to create the momentum. And then another way is you take your hand and make the momentum yourself by just lunging it like that, So with that said, that's how we do this move right here. All these little spins, and then you just want to do it at a higher velocity. But for the sake of this demo, we'll just go up. It's going to pull it around in a circle, and this is going to pull around up, and it's going to pull around back. So, up from the crotch, right? Pull it in a circle, pull it over, okay? Okay, so say you're doing your spins or whatever, got a new move that kind of goes off of this a little bit. It goes off this concept right here, where we're pulling with riptides across, right? Boom! X catch. I don't know if this has been invented yet or not. It looks like that. X and back. And I just discovered this morning. What is it today? Sunday? So, Sunday morning. Okay, here we go. Ready? Boom! Catch and over. Catch and over. How to do an X catch, okay? Do you remember how I was, in the very last minute or so, I was saying you have an underhand and overhand grab, and you pull it over, the hand that grabs pulls it over the back of the hand and it grabs again, right? That's this. The X catch is the same thing except I'm pushing it sideways this way to where my arms form an X. So slowly, boom, right? Do you see that? One hand actually moves across this way, whether it's the bottom or the top. Whether it's the bottom or the top, it's going to cross this way, see? And then you just keep your arms open, so catch. And you can swing it back. I'm sure there's so many different places you can take this. I mean, you can take it into a wrist roll that way, or it really does. I mean, you can always unwind it. You don't even have to catch it if you're going to unwind it. You can just let it rotate around. You could probably even get even more funky with it, like, woo! Yeah, that's kind of fun. But this grab right here can, take you into other moves as well. That's a good thing why you might want to grab it, so you might be able to roll it around, into the front lane or whatever. A couple of people have also asked, like, how, I'm going to use these gems because I like them and they're heavy. A couple people have asked how I do what they call the reverse, something rebound, whatever. And the trick is you have to know where the chuck balance is, right? And this is hard regardless. I still have problems doing this move. As soon as you know where the chuck balance is, this is the place where you want to catch it, right here, okay? So the trick is, alright, that's kind of a basic one. Let's try it again. And it's not the easiest move. I'm still in the works of trying to get control of it a little bit better. Essentially, when you do your wrist spin, you pull it backwards this way. And what that's going to do is you want momentum. Because the momentum, you don't want it to shoot sideways. you want it to shoot downward. When you balance your hand, two things. One, it has to be almost 90 degrees. Two, you want to hit it right about the same balancing point where you found it before. And three, don't just smack it or you will hurt the back of your hand. What you have to do is pull it down just a hair. It has to just kind of absorb that momentum. It kind of falls down with it just for a minute. And then what it does is you roll it up and you almost kind of arc it. The reason why you arc it is to kind of, just slightly, like that. I can't always do this. It's still a work in progress. But that's also, in case you're wondering, that's also how I can get this move here, and then I'll kick it. Yeah, you see it. Boom. Yeah. It's just I'm trying to balance it on this thing. I'm trying to find interesting other ways that I can use this balancing point right here. If you don't hit it right on, it'll probably fling out of control. Like if I hit it over. Well, I guess that's okay. But if you can get it right at that balancing point or right around it, you can usually get a pretty good spin off of it. But then you got to catch it. This takes some practice. And the truth is, to be able to do it well, you want a heavy chuck. Don't use any light weights. Here's some rattan chucks. Alright, watch this. There's no weight to it. So when you try to fling it, it makes it really freaking hard. There's just nothing, it'll just bounce off your hand. I think if you I think you could probably eventually get the rattans, but it's actually easier to do on a heavier chuck because you have more momentum to go through with it. See that? Still a work in progress. Oh, and be careful because if you don't get a good enough spin, just grab it right here. Don't let it go all the way over. If there's not enough spin, don't try to wait for it to fully spin. Just do a half grab like that right here, see? Then at least you don't drop your chuck. So, over, grab, like that. Or, woohoo, like that. Okay? That's all, folks.